you here, and we want to just inform you of some things that we're seeing at the cutting edge of life. You know, we're showing you a screen called the Physics of Recovery. I think the most important thing to tell you of what has been going on, we just certified in brain restoration in New Orleans with Dr. Medier. It has a lot of applications, especially what we'll be talking about in a few minutes. But it is supportive to the idea that mitochondria, without cell health, there is no health, but this takes it to a deeper level. Your brain has immense amounts of mitochondria that operate both on a biological and a physics level. They are, in fact, run on ATP, which is not a neurotransmitter, but a glia transmitter. And a glia, part of the brain, is something that actually helps us email, text, and tweet rather than talk on our old landlines. So the world has changed. There's something new going on. And as we become aware of what that is, NAD, which you'll hear about on our next seminar, may be absolutely essential. And we have had an NAD clinic here for about 6 months. And obviously not everybody gets better, but the ones that do have amazing results when something changes in their body, when NAD plus versus NADH changes. So we're very excited about our NAD clinic because it continues to help us with the physics of recovery. So, but today we're also going to teach you, or listen to you, or whatever we do, we're going to try to find out and try to give you a picture of what these new T-5 remedies are doing. Our basic theory would be is that the root of all disease and aging is mitochondria dysfunction caused by environmental toxins, stealth pathogens that alter the electron and biophoton flow, inhibiting the body from having enough energy to reset. The way I'm talking about it in the clinic is people don't have enough energy to find their own blueprint for recovery. Almost everything in our environment these days disorganizes the cell at its very root, including, and most notably, Wi-Fi and electropollution. Not only that, our digestion and the foods make us have ammonia and lactic acid and pyruvic acid, all things that cause us to actually start to decline. So sometimes we're not really people who are sick, but we are so out of sync with our own energy pattern that we cannot recover or reset. And the really fascinating part, as we have unfolded this story at the cellular level, it's not about physics. Now, I think here's an important part to understand. It's not about biology, it's about physics. And so you can kind of see that there is this kind of conical flow of information that rebuilds and creates something called redox. And literally, it's 1% biology and 99% physics. But even at the greatest meetings in the world, which include functional medicine, homotoxicology, we still sometimes do not actually have a handle on what the physics part of recovery is about. And it's 99% physics and 1% biology, or even less. But the real point of that being is that if all we're treating is the biology in today's world, we're really sending a plumber to do an electrician's work. So we've come up with some solutions for that. We think they're on the cutting edge. We hope they're not the bleeding edge, because we have now tried them consistently for a long time, maybe a couple of years. What we call the Solimar solution, the T-5 remedies, the Qubit, and the Clear Mind. And we have some alterations, but what is happening is ammonia's aldehyde, metabolic waste, stealth pathogens, and oxidative stress are coming through this biological filter. The EMF, the disturbed biorhythms, environmental toxins are all disturbing health at the very basic subatomic level. So we feel like that we can get to a certain point by doing all that functional medicine, taking all those supplements, but there's something missing. So the basic issue is electromagnetic pollution, environmental toxins, and they short-circuit mitochondria function. So a conversation with an integrated pediatrician believes that accumulated metals turn the child into a literal receptor of EMFs. Sleep is disturbed to the point of critical challenge of, in our society. Now that's really an important part, because we've had a big recovery story on Eagle Scout grade A kid that basically ended up in the basement for 3 years playing video games and sleeping the other 12 hours. He had a combination of stealth pathogens, biotoxic illness, oxidative stress. But when we rebooted the computer, he's now playing cards during the day, he's going out on Friday nights, and actually getting up before 10 o'clock in the morning. But this conflagration of EMFs, metals, sleep disturbances, and what that sleep disturbance often is aluminum and mold pathogens in the nose. Stealth pathogens such as cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr, mycoplasma, all problems. And then to add to the worry, there's not many inhabitable houses. I was with one of my favorite German practitioners one time who said, there is not one inhabitable house in all of Seattle. So we know that many houses actually have mold and fungus, and which often ends up in a biotoxic illness. And as a result, our oxidative stress becomes higher and higher, and the cells start to shut down. So we have had that on our mind for a number of years. We used innovation here, and what we did now is, again, the NAD nasal spray, the intravenous patch and supplements. So we do have an IV center. We've had a great success this month there. The great success is a doctor from California, broken neck, Lyme disease, 3 years in trying to recover. And the basic thing that happened there is that as we flooded her body with IV nutrients, she's been preparing for 2 years. This is her first big trip. She came here and spent 17 days, and we're flooding her body with NAD and other things. Now, we also found that there is some science behind this one, these two together. It's called the CD38 pathway, and in the CD38 pathway, it is NAD dependent, and one of the products that comes out of that is oxytocin. We've noticed that people's brains need reconnection. So no matter what you say, what oxytocin is for, a lot of people love to think about it as the love drug, but it is in essence an oxytocin connects you to yourself. So we find that a IV nasal spray work with that has been very, very exciting and helped in regenerating connection with people. We all seem to be a little disconnected these days. Exciting other new innovations in-house. We've done the qubit and the circuit. Now, we've created an entire energetic environment. The qubit is so fantastic. We worked with that, it arrived 1 year ago this week. Amazing tool that creates a relaxation by actually organizing information in your body all the way down to the subatomic particle. The circuit is a number of things. It's just like a rehabilitation center, but you are immersed in just having a non-EMF environment or a countered EMF peaceful environment that stimulates your neuroimmune response. The one that is being innovated by myself and a scientist named Eugene Barrett in Las Vegas, and another one out there, I don't even remember his name, but it's called the multi-lumen, and we've improved and taken to the higher level the LED treatment by pads and by specific nature of what he calls the blob. We can hit very serious points on your body, but we're also using it for neuroimmune reset in a similar fashion that one would use the Neuro-V if you've used that in the past. Now, the reason we want to talk about that is because what if you can't get to Richmond, Virginia and participate in all that, and you're tired of taking 1,000 supplements? So again, about last year at this time, and what I create, where I had several muses helping me create my new world of biophysics or bioenergetics, or to be honest with you, it's a wonderful new name. Started in a foundation in Boston, and it's called Neurophotonics. So what you're looking there at that picture is a neurophotonic representation of the brain. Now, most of us have been exposed to homotoxicology and other things. There's something also called homeodynamics, where the true imprints, very powerful imprints, are being used as well in a scalar wave technology. Now, people always say, Mike, well, you know, you kind of make things complicated, but I just made 5 remedies. We found it's based off of these principles. 1, without cell health, there is no health. Oh, by the way, without brain, there is no cell health. Oh, by the way, most mitochondria, half your mitochondria located in your brain. So clear brain cells are essential for the starting point of getting better, and we've missed that. We've sent the plumber to do an electrician's job. So these are high electrical. This is the Walter who comes in and works on your, you know, your router and makes it work. You don't know how he does it, but he does. So I named them clear brain cells. Why? They're very complex, but that all you need to know is the first one clears you, the second one supports your brain, and the third one supports your mitochondria. So that's the first step in recovering health for anybody, whether you're Lyme or autism or MS. And so we've had great success with these that kind of clear bad electrical charges in and around your body, but they're made up of the imprints of very traditional things like ashwagandha and astragalus, agaricus. The best one in clear is actually chaga. And chaga not only has beautiful autoimmune properties, but somehow also, just like anybody drinking tea, would have other clear insight, spiritual support for you in the sense of just helping you not to worry all the time. Clear brain cells. Well, if I get that done, what's the next step? Restore life, and those are tonics, homeopathic tonics that just keep the energy going. So they all work together. We've kept it simple. I call it the T5. That stands for Thrive with 5 Remedies. Now, we have made 5 more that we're about ready to introduce, and in case you get worried about having Lyme or mold or metals or viruses, the new ones will then be called Clear Brain Cells Remove Parasites, Lyme, mold, viruses, and metals. So very simple program that you can get started with at home. You don't even need me. You don't even need me. This is the best clearing you can have to get started or reset or restarted on your programs. So I hope that you will look at these, because we've spent hours and years developing this and trying to make it affordable and sustainable for your recovery. Scalar wave homeopathy is what they're made of, and so they have sound, frequency, vibration, and we've captured certain oscillations in them to represent those. To accomplish a greater impact with fewer supplements, to increase the absorption, open up the pathways for oxygenation and mineralization and cell signaling. See, again, when you send a plumber to do a computer job, and I love plumbers, by the way, so because if without them, the world wouldn't operate. But I'm just saying that in this new world, these things are blocked. So what happens, and let me just give it to you quickly, but here's the complicated part. When toxins enter our body, our cells become stagnant. In fact, they become self-intoxicating because they begin to actually create, well, a self-intoxication through ammonia, aldehyde, lactic acid. We see it all the time. So basically, you shut down. Cells don't open and close. It's like someone has duct taped the door. So nothing gets in, nothing gets out. When we open up these pathways, you begin to oxygenate, you begin to mineralize, and your cells start talking to each other. In the past, they didn't, because they were just too toxic and didn't have the energy to talk. So we thought it was essential to start right there. The essential elements of the T5 remedy are structured water, imprinted frequencies, and tested harmonics. It's a step above anything that you've done before. And we're happy to be associated with Mike at Homeodynamics. The physics is quite interesting. There is a book called Into the Out Of. That's basically what's happening in this picture to the right. But in these formulas, we've made sure that there's a drainage detoxification where it opens up the pathways, it clears the extracellular matrix, and again, restarting the cell communication. Now, That is really important because we think that the brain and the nervous system is something very much akin to the old AT&T situation, meaning wires and telephone lines, but in essence, our cells communicate by email, texting, and tweeting. They used to tell us if we stubbed our toe that it traveled up these afferent and efferent nervous systems, and that's how our brain got the signal. It may very well text or Instagram your brain that quickly through an Ethernet. So let's not limit the body. You don't think Zuckerberg came up with that on his own, do you? You're already doing it. And right here's the center of why you're doing it. When we reviewed 10,000 bioenergetic scans, and if you don't know who we are, we've done over 30,000 Zytos with 6,000 people in 20 different countries. So when we reviewed just 10,000 of those scans, we found one important issue, that midbrain mitochondria rose as an important link to the break, as a substitute word, in the causal chain. The T-5 remedies are trying to restore that break, but what we're seeing is rebalancing signals. The metabolic support, diabetes 3, in Europe they don't even call it Alzheimer's, they call it diabetes 3. It's like a creme brulee forms in your brain. So it just is the way we handle sugars and other metabolic, what are called advanced glycosylated end products, AGE. It provides neurological support, anti-inflammatories, and supports for focus of eliminating stress. Stress and the way we metabolize things in the complex background of our emotions is often how we first become sick. So we don't want to see that in there either. When we look at the cells, what it does, the cell remedy, it's our flagship remedy because we love mitochondria. So what this does is help the recovery of the mitochondria, a serious matter in auto-neuroimmune, and that's what we support people who have MS, Parkinson's, autism, and Lyme issues. Support for the energy and metabolic production, neutralization of intracellular waste, and the restoration of cells and electronic function. And again, increased messaging. We want your brain to email, text, and tweet, and we want to have the receiver somewhere where you can have it. Restore. The Restore formula, the function of Restore is to rebalance the microbiome. We're all talking about, I've been in the business and we talk about leaky gut all the time. It seems to be elusive, because the environment is so dirty. The problem is if we get leaky gut, we often get leaky vein and leaky brain, so the gut in the neuro axis is very important. In fact, the small intestine has an enteric nervous system. So there's a lot of nervous system endings in the gut. So we got to keep the gut healthy as we can. It increases liver gallbladder function and removes toxic waste from the intestine. That's not the product Restore, it's a homeopathic restoration. We're coming in here and I just looked and looked and looked and I looked at all the European formulas, and this formula we really need, if we combine German and Chinese medicine, we really need to keep our blood tonified. When I'm running Zytos with my favorite Chinese medicine practitioners, we often have to come down to the fact that we have to be specifically not specific. The blood is thick, the blood is weak, the blood is whatever. We have to tonify the blood, regain our neuroimmune response, and reduction of stress. And then this one has a hormonal balance, because once hormones get out of whack, we've got other problems. For instance, progesterone really protects the brain. So, and the NAD connection. What is the NAD? I put it up here because everybody wants to know, and I bet I've misspelled that up 300 or 400 times. It's a coenzyme. It's not even a vitamin. It's a coenzyme in probably all or many biological oxidative reactions. Why do we care about it? It's a key element in making energy occur in the mitochondria. We love this. It was the key to what we've been doing for 15 years. Unfortunately, it's almost always expensive, and we are now expanding the delivery systems to patch, to supplementation, nasal spray, and intravenous. To be honest with you, the patch and the intravenous do the most so far. But we're always looking for new and innovative ways to improve the delivery of NAD, because it is, in fact, the key element, not NADH, NAD. It's called NAD+. What happens when NAD gets inverted, your body starts to starve. It gets inverted because we've been assaulted by so many environmental issues that the body tends to defend itself to the point that it won't take oxygen and it won't take food because it perceives it as a danger. So we get into a pseudo-hypoxic relationship with our environment. NAD helps switch that back. So the webinar specials are that the T-5 Remedy Clear Brain Cells restore life. They come as a package. You can stop twice a day and do 3 sprays of each. You can personalize it any way you want to. What we're offering is at a profoundly discounted price of $150, and I like that price. It really is useful. And then if you do a consult with us in the next 30 days, we're including a gift certificate in there as well. So we'd love to see you on these because we think they're important. We will continue to improve the delivery system. It is amazing so far for about 30 to 50% of the people, like amazing. So we hope that you have enjoyed our little talk today, and we want to encourage you to be a user of these in your everyday life. I walk out of here after several consults, spray it in my face, spray the brain and the cell. I do the restore at night sometimes, restore life, and I use it all day long here in the clinic. So it seems to be a very important part of my life. I hope it can be an important part of your life as well. So I thank you very much, and we'll talk to you as soon, I'm sure. Thanks.